over 25 years of experience. He's some of that's in network television, and he has got a ton of Emmys and NATOAs awards under his belt. To his left, we've got Abraham Gonzalez with the City of Austin, ATXN. He is a video production specialist. He's got over 12 years of experience, and again, Emmy award winning, and has GPAs and you name it under his belt. To his left, we've got Justin Atkinson. He's with South Washington County Telecommunications Commission in Minnesota. Justin's been nominated for numerous Emmys, NATOA awards he's won, and he's worked in government for 10 years as a government producer. And to his left, we've got Shay, and Shay is, I'm sorry, Shay Johnson, and she is with the City of San Diego, not county, so it's just, yeah. She's the multimedia coordinator. And she's got regional Emmys and a lot of other awards under their belt. So we're really happy to have such a talented crew of people here to speak. They've got lots of video to show. What we're trying to get today is maybe you get something that you can put in your toolbox, you get an idea from watching one of their productions. We're gonna try to save 15 minutes for question and answer afterwards. I'm gonna run around with a microphone because this is gonna be web streamed, so we'll do that afterwards. But with that, I'm gonna give you my twin. We swear to God we didn't do this twinsies thing today. Billy Matthews.
Thanks, Dennis. Thank you. Good morning. Denton, Texas is a full-service city. We own our landfill, the power company, the wastewater, water, solid waste. And we were looking about 4 years ago to come up with a program that we could highlight those blue-collar folks on the front lines providing services to the citizens of Denton. So originally, or with originality, we came up with a show called Denton's Dirty Jobs. And so again, that was 4 years ago. We identified the landfill manager as a host. He'd never done any television before, but he's a Texan, authentic, very likable, and he was agreeing to do it. So there we went. I'll pick up the story about him, but I wanted to show about a 1:20 clip of the very first episode of Denton's Dirty Jobs. Saw 4 years ago when we set out to produce this show for the first time. We really wanted to dot all the I's and cross all the T's prior to production, as we would always want to do. We'd had an outline and a script and worked with David prior to going out there to shoot that. We took the script and we did cue cards, had the reprographics office print those up, because I wanted to make sure that we were going to be kind to him, that we weren't going to be out there for 8 hours shooting that first show. After attempting to handle everything ahead of time, we got out there. David can't see very well. And whether the cards were 6 inches from his face, 6 feet, or 60 feet, it didn't matter. They were useless. And we thought about it, and the guys in the field realized, let's just let David be David. The reasons we were attracted to him in the first place. So off we went. Here's an episode of Denton's Dirty Jobs.
I'm David Duggar, and welcome to Denton's Dirty Jobs. This program highlights the City of Denton employees and the dirty jobs that they do. When it comes to disgusting work, it doesn't get much worse than a clogged sewer line. And flushing one of these babies is exactly what we're going to be doing today. This is the crew that handles the calls when residents report blockages. When they're not on a call, these crews are out flushing problematic lines, keeping anything and everything out of the sewer system. Let's go meet them. Hey Keith, hey buddy.
Hey Dave, how you doing?
All right, man, how you guys doing
Pretty
today?
good, pretty good.
What are you guys doing?
Oh, we're trying to find a sewer line.
Trying to find the sewer line?
Trying to find a sewer line to get, we got a backup over here, but we only can run that if we find our main first.
So you guys have the entire city mapped out like this?
Yes, we do. We got it all mapped out. This red arrow here shows you which way everything flows.
So why is it important which way the line flows?
In order to clean the line efficiently, we have to bring the debris back to us, and if we run it with the flow, then that can cause backups in people's houses, and we always want the debris to be cleaned out toward us.
We found our manhole. We're about to go open it up and go to work.
Oh man, can I help?
Need some gloves.
Oh, give me some gloves, let's go.
Well, I know you've been in some dirty jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever had seen anything dirty like this.
Oh, okay.
We'll let you get a little bit dirty, Dave. I see you got your nice boots on.
All right. Oh man, you really are gonna put me to work, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Dirty job, Dave. We all got to do it. Oh, we got this little thing here called a tiger's tail. What we're going to do is we're going to take our hose, stick it down in there. It's designed to protect our hose, keep it from getting damaged inside the line. Then after that, we throw our hose in, and we go to work.
We have 500 feet of hose on this line, and we're gonna run pretty much all of it out.
Somebody flushed.
Yep.
We have a half-inch hose here, got a 3/4-inch hose over there, and we have a pony motor on the back. We average about 2,500 PSIs when we pumping our water out. You know, and then we got this little level here, which reel our hoses in and out. Then this level here is for our water pressure when we want to turn our water on. And we want to use our degreaser when we're degreasing our lines.
Yes, that's the degreaser, and it's cleaning the grease out of the line.
I see the fats and the greases and stuff like that, but what else can be down in there?
There can be roots, there can be rocks, there can be pieces of trees, wood. There's also all kinds of crazy stuff down here.
Oh man, I've found some really weird stuff in there, like traffic cones, t-shirts, purses. You know, you got people around here that like to take the lids off and throw things in there. But they don't know it backs up everybody's system.
How do you guys set your priority? Which line do you know to go to?
Priority is service calls, Dave. First thing we do is service first. When we're not doing services, we're doing preventive maintenance on problem lines with a lot of grease backup.
So as a customer, how do I know when to call you guys?
You should call us anytime you have a sewer problem. And we can come out and determine if it's our problem or not. We're gonna run our main, and then we'll run your curbside cleanout if you have one. If you don't have a curbside cleanout, chances are you might have to call a plumber. But we always want you to call us first.
Okay, so from the curb clean out back to my house then is my responsibility.
Well, if you don't have a clean out there, Dave, pretty much it'll be your responsibility.
Man, this turned out to be as nasty a job as I thought it was gonna be.
Yes, it is, Dave.
But we do appreciate you guys being out here on the front line and taking care of the sewer system here at the City of Denton.
Thank you, Dave. I'm Keith Eccles,
I'm Buddy Wheeler.
and this is Our Dirty Job.
Keeping the city's sewer pipes flowing properly is everyone's responsibility. Citizens should be aware that pouring leftover cooking oils or grease down the sink will eventually cause blockage in the wastewater lines. You can visit dentonfog.com for tips on how to dispose of fats, oils, and greases at home. And have your used cooking oil collected through the city's home chemical collection program. Check out more videos at youtube.com/City of Denton. I'm David Duggar, and thanks for watching.
Thank you. Denton's Dirty Jobs is probably, we get more response to that than probably anything we do. And probably because we let David Duggar be David Duggar, using the word ain't, you know, those kind of Texan terms that endear him. I've always believed that real stories told by real people is a pretty good jumping off point when it comes to storytelling, and especially in television. About a year and a half ago, we got a new historic preservation officer at the City of Denton. His name is Roman McCallum. And this guy is a character. He's not only a really good historic preservation officer, but straight out of Central Casting. He wears a bow tie, his pants leg is tucked in his sock because he rides his bike all over town. And the day I met him, I realized we needed to come up with something to not only highlight what he does professionally, but just kind of let him be him. So about, I guess 6 or 8 months ago, we came up with a show called Preservation Denton, hosted by Roman McCallum. We're going to take a quick look at it now.
Hi, I'm Roman McAllen, and welcome to this episode of Preservation Denton. Today, we're on the north edge of the campus of Texas Women's University to have a look at this house, the Gertrude Gibson House, which was designed very early in the prolific career of one of Texas's most esteemed architects, O'Neill Ford.
Joining me to help tell the story of this home is Patrice Frisbee. Patrice has devoted her career to TWU and personally knew the home's namesake, Gertrude Gibson.
This is really a special place, and
Yes,
we
it
know it,
is.
and I'm really thankful that you took the time to come out here today.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We enjoy owning the home, and it's just a wonderful remembrance of Gertrude Gibson, who worked for TW for over 50 years. Wow. It was built in 1929, designed by O'Neill Ford, who also designed with his colleagues Arch Swank and Preston Guerin the little chapel in the woods.
Yes.
So TW is privileged
Yes.
to own 2 O'Neill Ford properties. Gertrude was really into wildflowers.
These tiles are really
Aren't they?
special.
They're
and
very
They
interesting.
don't repeat themselves often. I'm having even trouble seeing, so that it's a...
Absolutely, and they were one of her real loves. There are a lot of things that are very unique to this home. When we go into the great room, you'll notice the brick flooring.
Right, those are really amazing because you
Those-
you could have done them with just cast concrete or something, but it's obvious they put a lot of attention.
He did.
And how beautifully and symmetrically they fan out right into the corner. Even look at the detail in the
They're
corner. They
very-
match exactly.
Exactly.
And then with this stunning
balcony.
balcony
So
and
look at the detail in the balcony, and that would certainly lend itself to holiday decorating.
Well, Patrice, I'm very interested to honor Gertrude by hearing a little more about her.
She got the title Miss TW, kind of an informal title, because she was one of our greatest ambassadors.
Oh, really?
She really was. She loved TW. She loved showing it off. She loved showing off the students. We are very proud of this home and proud of our campus, and we're pleased to share it with you.
As you head up through the heart of TWU, you could easily miss this historic home. Today, it is used as a guest house for visiting faculty and speakers, as well as a special location for departmental events.
In 1929, when this home was built, O'Neill Ford was just 23 years old. And his friend and client, Mary Anderson, had him design this home for her. Here in this crook, you have this very subtle entry to the home with a curved porch and these beautiful hand-carved columns. They've been changed over the years on the lower portion, but we still see the upper portion and the beautiful fine detailing of that. And we actually still have the original front door, which is hand-carved as well. The house is small in scale and sits back from the street. You may not realize it actually has a second floor, and it was part of the original design. When we get up here, we notice it still has this V-groove paneling that's amazing. And Lynn Ford would have done all of this woodwork. It continues, it's on the ceiling, it's on the walls, the doors, and we still have the original hardware on these doors. So it's just a great detailing. Throughout the house, you have the same floor molding and detailing that comes up. All of this, according to the drawings, would have been hand-carved on the site. O'Neill Ford worked at a time when there was this very big conflict between modernism and the arts and crafts movement. And there was a movement to come back to the arts and craft and to teach hand skills. And O'Neill Ford himself was very big on people being able to do carpentry. He didn't believe an architect was really a good architect unless he knew how to do carpentry. Denton's really fortunate because if you know, we have other O'Neill Ford buildings and we have a lot of beautiful wood carving in our city. And I just wanted to point this out. It's just really elegant detailing and original columns that are here. Really, I've never seen this before, but milk glass doorknobs. And these are just beautiful, still in good shape. They've survived these years. It shows that the home has always had, caretakers who cared for the home and didn't get overzealous about replacing and upgrading all the time. And so you have this just a phenomenal house in really wonderful original condition. This is the balcony in the main room of the house, and we know that Mary and subsequent owners of the house use this room as a studio, and also that faculty parties were held here. It's a really unique feature of the house, of the hand-carved woodwork and a pocket door. And it's just a lot of fun. We know that the faculty would have had fun in this space, and we hope you had fun in this episode of Preservation Denton.
And you can watch more videos about the City of Denton at youtube.com/City of Denton. Be sure and subscribe to be alerted of other Preservation Denton episodes as they become available. For the City of Denton, I'm Roman McAllen. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Picking up on the discussion of yesterday about finding your own talent, for us, letting Roman McAllen be Roman McAllen and letting David Duggar be David Duggar has helped us a lot with those two shows. Neither one of them had television experience prior to. As I said earlier, the City of Denton owns our own power company, and about a month ago we were asked to put a 30-second spot together on the line workers, the guys on the front lines that make the lights work when you turn the switches on. We found we had too much information to do one 30-second spot, so we did two, and we're going to look at those now back to back.
Here's to the line worker, early on the job, dependable no matter the conditions, proud to keep the lights on. High-quality, reliable electric service doesn't happen by accident. It happens with dedication, elbow grease, hard work. We accept the responsibility of providing your power, and our inspired commitment is anchored in doing the job right. The city's journey providing electricity began in 1905. We turned the lights on for the first time together. The responsibility of keeping you connected with reliable electricity fuels our determination and drives our dedication. That level of service doesn't happen by accident. It happens each and every day around here because of our commitment to you.
What happened was, thank you. My inspiration, as you might imagine, for the first spot was like a Chevy truck commercial. That's kind of what I was going for, and there's not a whole lot of original ideas out there, so feel free to take any of mine. They're all stolen. The second spot is we were writing the first one, the fact that the city and the citizens have owned the utility in Denton since 1905, that kept creeping in, and it wasn't really a part of what we wanted to say in that first spot, so then we just decided to do a separate spot for that. Same announcer, different music, little different feel. This last one I want to show is a 30-second spot. It's kind of interesting. It won a NATOA award year before last. Denton is growing and the square is unbelievable. It's awesome now with the clubs and the bars and the shops and the people, and there's a lot going on. So we wanted to put a 30-second spot together about pedestrian safety, and I had no idea it was going to turn out quite like this.
Denton Square is as busy as ever. More cars, more bikes, more people. So pay attention to each other and the traffic signals. If you see the red hand, don't cross the street. Instead, follow the man. It's that simple. Not every crosswalk is timed the same, so stay alert. Whether you're driving or walking, don't be too hip for the square. Remember, to cross safely, you must wait on the hand and follow the man.
Thanks. Just finally, my thanks to Brian Plink. I knew the guys, we'd written that ahead of time, and I don't recommend that. David McElroy, who's here now, the PEG manager, City of San Antonio, and Brian Plink went to shoot that. And I knew the guy was going to wave or something at the end. I had no idea that Brian, with After Effects help, was going to put that together. So we were really pleased with that. That's it. Thank you.
Start the first one.
Hello, I'm Austin City Manager Mark Ott. Welcome to our Budget Basics video. The City of Austin is committed to an open and transparent budget process, and we take pride in our community engagement efforts. In this short video, you will learn about the broad variety of services provided by the city, how we pay for those services, and the basics of the budget process here in Austin. At the end of the
Okay, so there's 8 more minutes of this. How many of you guys want to sit through 8 more minutes of budget video? I didn't think so. Anyway, so this video, our budget department came to us, and it was budget season, so they wanted to make a video that showed taxpayers how their money was being spent. And they came to us with a laundry list of things that had to be in this video, and they were non-negotiable. So when we saw this list, we were like, oh man, this is gonna be a really long video with a lot of information being thrown at the people. So we were a little worried about it, but they really wanted all this stuff in there, so we produced the video. And we ended up with a video that is really well produced. The graphics are really good. We use really good B-roll. It's just way too long, but in the end, that's what they wanted. And we showed them this video, and they loved it. They thought it was the greatest video ever. So we've been using it for the past 4 years, and we do updates here and there, but it's basically the same video. But what we found out was that, and what we realized kind of already, was that the budget office loved this video because they're the budget office, they love that type of stuff. They're like, it fascinates them. But the audience that they were trying to reach wasn't really sticking around for 8 minutes, Dave, so we were not getting a lot of clicks. So this past year, we approached them and we told them that we didn't want to update the video this year, that we wanted to go in a complete different direction. We wanted to do something way shorter, more dynamic, something with maybe not so many numbers, and something that we really thought would be more effective in appealing to their audience. So can you show the second one? Yeah. So this is what we came up with. We talked to them, and then it took a little bit to get them on board, but finally they came on board, and this is what we ended up with. Can you make sure the volume is back up?
Hey there, I'm here to talk to you about the City of Austin budget. Oh, hold on, don't go anywhere. This is important, and it involves all of us. Whether you shop, work, eat, or live in Austin as a renter or a homeowner, you pay taxes. We're talking about how the city uses your money, and we're gonna keep it short. With over 13,000 employees and 40 departments, you'll find that we're involved in a lot of what makes the city great. You like breakfast tacos? How about live music? Do kittens make you smile? And check out all these books. Or check them out digitally. Austin 911, do you need police, fire, or EMS? And don't forget about the beauty of the great outdoors. Here at the City of Austin, we do our best to care for these things because we know how important they are to you. And because you play such an important role in making the city great, we want you to know how your money's being spent. Right now, we're working on next year's budget. We can't cover everything the city does in this video, but you can learn more about city services and our budget by visiting austintexas.gov/budget. While you're there, you can use our budget simulator to tell us what your priorities are for the upcoming year. So come on, check out the site and let us know what you think.
Okay, so a very different concept than what they originally had. We basically gave them very little information about what the budget actually contained. We raised awareness, we let them know that there was a budget process that was happening, they could participate, and then we just pointed them to where they could find all this information. So we were able to make it way shorter, more dynamic. We didn't have a lot of numbers in there. It's something that we were able to push through
social media. In the first week of having this video on Facebook, we got more views on it than we got the last 4 years combined, by a lot, like 10 times as many. So we wouldn't have been able to do that with that longer form video with all that information. It just wouldn't have, it doesn't play well on social media. So by doing something like this, they were able to reach their target audience, and they were really happy with this video. It was really well received by the department. So much so that the budget director, when he presented his council his budget to council, he opened up by saying that he was really impressed with the amount of engagement there had been in the community this year, and he thought that it was in great part because of this video that we produced for him. So we were really, really proud about that. Anyway, so that's one of the things that I want to talk about, is just, trying things in a different way, trying out new things. So the next thing that I want to talk about is another new thing we've been trying there at the station, and we're experimenting with it right now. It's called 60-second stories, and I'll show you an example first, and then I'll talk a little bit about it.
Our senior horse, Dusty, he's been on the unit about 12 years. If you could be brothers with an animal, we're pretty much brothers. So we were good partners. I almost knew what he was thinking before he did it. All he wants me to scratch him, that's what it is. He has an itch down there he can't reach. The lip action, it's just like a dog. But he was a beefcake back, when we had the quarter horses. He's about 21 years old. Goes into any situation we ask him to go into. Pretty much, he's not scared of anything. The scene on 6th Street is pretty exciting at times. Dusty was struck in the face with a shoe when we were trying to disperse the crowd. He's been burned with cigarettes. He's a trooper, made it through it all. He's going to be retired finally after serving the city for 12 years. He's actually going to me and my family. We want to make sure that they live as long as they can and an easy life after this.
Okay, so the concept here is, this is video that we're out there getting anyway. So we're going out there, we're getting this video for our longer pieces, maybe for our news show. And why not try and do something that's really quick that we can throw on social media maybe that next day, and that will play really well on social media. So that's what we did. Again, really quick turnaround. I think James was there that morning shooting the video, and we had it on Facebook by the next day. So the department is really happy because they're getting their story out there. It's a quick turnaround for us. We get to use that video again. That video was included in our news show that following week. And again, it plays really well on social media. In a week, we had 26,000 views for a video that honestly we wouldn't have even produced a month ago. So it's something that we're starting to do, and we've found a lot of success with just in this past couple of months. So I'm gonna show you another example.
365 Days of Hiking is my personal commitment and mission to picking up trash for 365 consecutive days. Candy wrapper. The Instagram account that I have is where I document all of the trash that I find along different trails and parks and when just walking in my own neighborhood. The feedback's been overwhelmingly positive. I definitely thought people were gonna think I was crazy when I said that I was gonna do 365 consecutive days of picking up trash. I thought people were gonna be like, okay. But everyone's been super supportive. Most common thing that I find is definitely beer cans, beer bottles, and cigarette butts. It's a water bottle cap, you see? No matter where I am, I want to be doing this. There's always litter to be found, unfortunately, but I'm ready to pick it up, and I bring my supplies with me and just make it happen.
Again, same concept. This is something that we're gonna do a longer form piece on. He threw that together in a day, and we have it on social media, and it's playing out great. And then we'll get to use it again later in that longer form. The department is happy because their message is already getting out there, and they see that they're getting a lot of views, so they're really happy with it, and we're happy too because we get to use the video twice, and we get to get a lot of views on social media because this type of video plays way better than a 2.5-minute package. So I would encourage you guys to look at opportunities for, if you have video already that you can make something like this with, man, you guys are gonna get so much views, and it's just gonna be, the departments are gonna be really happy that you guys are getting the story out so quick. It'll give you a little bit more time to work on the longer piece and get it right. So the other new thing that we're trying that I wanted to talk to you guys about is Slow TV. How many of you guys are familiar with Slow TV? I'll show an example and then I'll talk a little bit about it. Okay, so the complete different concept. This ended up being an hour and a half video. Our producer went out there, and the concept is we go to really iconic places in Austin, and we just frame up a shot, and we leave it there. This is Barton Springs Pool, is a really famous swimming pool in Austin. Everybody who goes to Austin goes there. We went out there, James went out there, he set up a shot, and he left it there. He didn't touch it for half an hour, 45 minutes. Each was about half an hour. So he has a wider shot of the pool. He came back with a handful of 30-minute clips, and he just put them together. And that next day, we were able to air it. You know, it's very little post-production work, and people love these videos. We've gotten stopped for these videos more than anything we've done this year. Like there's something really peaceful about just watching. They love having it in their office. We've gotten messages from outside of Austin, people saying, hey, we've been watching your Barton Springs pool video. Man, we wish we were there. Like, it's so cool. And I gotta say, whenever it comes on, it is a peaceful thing to just be watching the same thing over and over. I don't know if we're getting hypnotized or something, but it's really, really successful. We've had a lot of success with this. And I'm going to show you a couple more examples. Okay, can you pick the other? This is my last clip. Can you show the last one? So this is the same concept. We found a really iconic place in Austin. We set up a really beautiful shot, and we just let it go. And again, a lot of success. People love this video. People just like come and comment, and they just like, man, those videos you guys have been doing, we really like when they pop on. And it's really not a lot of work, and you guys could have an hour and a half worth of video that you can use on your holidays, you know, on your downtimes. You can throw this, and people love it. So anyway, I got the minute signal, so yeah, real quick. This airs on our channel, and we have it on Facebook as well. So if people want to watch it, they can go to Facebook and watch it. It's probably not the ideal length for a Facebook video, but you know, people do watch it. We get comments.
We put it on at the lunch board, sort of like, hey, put this on during Barton.
Yeah. Anyway, so try new things. All these things we just started trying this last year. You have any questions, I'll be around the conference.
All right, don't worry, my PowerPoint's only 70 pages, so just bear with me. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm Justin, I'm from Minnesota. I want to thank Dennis and Nate Toa for asking me to speak with all of you today about video. So one of the things I love most about this industry and coming to conferences and workshops like this one is that there are so many different ways to tell a story. You know, there's so many different ways to structure one. Yeah, there's no real blueprint to, here, just do it this one way, and then all the NATOA awards are going to start raining down. You know, there's different ways you can do it for that to happen. So what I'm going to talk about is a way that I kind of been doing it lately. And I went to film school, so my passion is films. So how I try to structure my stories is kind of like they do in screenwriting, you know, where there's a 3-act structure. You know, we all know about a story having a beginning, a middle, and end. And in screenwriting, it's the traditional 3-act structure. So the last couple of years I've been trying to bring that into my stories. And basically, the Cliff's Notes version of that is in the beginning of the story, you set up your character, your protagonist, you set up their goal, what it is they want. And then the middle of the story is you show them overcoming obstacles in an effort to try to get that. And in the end is the resolution. Do they get that or do they not? So I brought with me today a story. It's a lengthier story, so I'm only going to show 3 clips from it. But each clip hopefully will illustrate for you this 3-act structure that I brought. And of course, since you're being live streamed, I chose to bring the most R-rated of my clips. So there is some adult language. We're gonna skip past those parts, so just bear with me here. So the first clip I'm gonna show is from the beginning of this piece I did called A Soldier's Journey. When I look at this, many things come to mind, but the first is sacrifice. The kind of sacrifice one man would make after embarking on a journey to one of the most dangerous places imaginable. Since 2003, Pat Nickel has been a police officer for the city of Cottage Grove, Minnesota.
Oh, police food. Can we do multiple takes of this? I want more donuts.
I've wanted to be a police officer really all my life. Or what I like most about being a police officer is just helping and being able to be there and help those that can't help themselves. Just the desire to help.
Your 2 daughters are wearing their helmets, so we'd like to give them a couple certificates, one for each for a free cone at Dairy Queen.
Pat's desire to help others also extended to his 26 years as a soldier in the U.S. military.
I joined the Marine Corps, did that for 4 years, and then I spent the rest of my time in the Army Reserve.
Despite his years of military service, Pat Nickel had not yet been deployed on a combat mission. Once a soldier deploys, they earn a patch. That deployment patch is worn proudly on their uniform.
Soldiers want that patch. They want to walk around and allow people to see that they've deployed.
For Pat to get his patch, he would first need to be sent to a war zone. In response to the 9/11 attacks, U.S. forces entered Afghanistan. The mission was to remove the Taliban, a terrorist regime, from power. After they refused to surrender Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. As the war continued, the Taliban threat persisted. Since 2001, their war has cost the lives of more than 3,500 coalition service members, 2,000 of which were American troops.
I'm hit! I'm hit! I'm hit!
In 2009, as the war continued, Pat Nickel went on with his life, being a husband to his wife Nicole, and a father to their sons Cody and Jacob. On May 25th, 2009, Pat received a call he'd never forget. He was being deployed for 1 year to Afghanistan.
When I came home, I had to tell my family, sorry. There's just certain things that stick with you. The hardest part for me to accept this, even though we go back to that patch, and I wanted to earn that patch, was to leave my family. It's not something that anybody wants to do, and knowing that I'm not going to be able to be there for them for that next year was just tough.
Clip's a little bit choppy, I apologize about that. But so that's an example of kind of the beginning of the story. I introduce Pat Nickel, the main character, as a police officer, and he's also in the military, and his goal is to get his deployment patch. So that's very important to set that up because that's like the engine for the story. And then with some of the combat footage there, I've tried to set up what the conflict is going to be as he gets to Afghanistan. And hopefully that's kind of a hook to kind of, give you an idea of what he's in store for dramatically. And then the heart of the story is really, as he talked about his kids and how he's leaving them for a while and he doesn't kind of know what's gonna happen. So again, that's just kind of how I set up the story, and I think it's very important to set it up in a way where you get the audience on the character's side right away so that you care about what's gonna happen to them. So that when we get into this next clip I'm gonna show, which is from the middle, the second act of the story, you care about what's gonna happen, because that's the second part, the middle of a story, I think is actually the most important, because that's the conflict. And that's when we start to see the character overcoming obstacles. And some of the obstacles that Pat had to overcome were pretty life-threatening. And I'm just gonna show a clip just from kind of one of those things, but I mean, he was almost killed many times. So again, just overcoming obstacles. So this next clip, we're gonna cut off the beginning of it because again, there's some language, but hopefully it gives you an idea of, again, those obstacles, that conflict. Drama is conflict, which all great stories need, I think. So we'll show that second clip.
The threat was real, and it was, you just never knew when or where it was going to happen. There was a time where I was talking to my wife on the phone, and the mortar lands, and it was close. When the mortar came very close, I was afraid that after that, maybe they would get a little closer. I had trouble sleeping because I didn't know when another mortar would hit. We lived in tents for a year. Those tents are not gonna stop anything. At one point in time, I wasn't sure. I mean, I had doubts whether I was gonna make it back or not. During that time, I decided to write letters to each member of my family, sealed them in an envelope, and sent them home to Nicole. But I asked Nicole not to open them up and just deliver them if I were not to make it back. The letters to Nicole and the boys were basically, I didn't want them to forget who I was, what I was doing, why I was there. To behave for their mom, do good in school, things like that.
All right, so that was from the second act, the middle of the story. You see the obstacles, the conflict. He almost gets blown up while talking to his family, or talking to his wife on the phone. And then he starts to wonder if he's gonna make it back. So again, just that conflict that I think in a war story you get that conflict pretty easily because it's a life or death situation. So the third and final clip I'm gonna show is from the end, just a portion of the end of the story, which is the resolution. What happens to Pat? Does he make it home? Obviously he makes it home because he's being interviewed, but what happens to him when he comes home? So we'll show that third clip. On July 3rd, 2010, Pat returned home.
Nicole and the boys were there, and my sister came down, my brother came down, well, and their families. Just being able to be with family and everything, it was just a relief. Life was a little tough when I got home. I do still have difficulty sleeping. I probably sleep 4 hours a night on average. I don't sleep well. That's been a problem. It stems from Afghanistan. Absolutely. My last uniform, I got rid of all the others, but this is the deployment patch that I earned. The patch represents the 16th MP Brigade.
With everything that you experienced over there, was it worth it to get this?
In everything I experienced, I think that this patch was worth it. Although you put yourself in danger and you do leave your family for a year, ultimately you are there to help other people. That's what this patch represents. It represents protecting and it represents the freedom. Yeah, this patch was worth it.
All right, sorry about the choppiness of the clips. You're actually seeing a bit of a 3-act structure happening on stage right now with the obstacles of trying to get these clips to play. But anyway, so that was from the end of the story, and you see how it was resolved. I mean, Pat, he did make it home safe to his kids. He got his deployment patch, which is what he wanted in the beginning of the story. But he's got some emotional problems, unfortunately, that he's going to have to deal with. But that's basically how I try to structure my stories. And like I said, this one, because it's life and death, it's very easy to bring that out. But there are other kinds of stories you could tell too in city government that you could apply this kind of dramatic structure to. And the reason I like it is because a story should take the audience on a journey. Ideally, there should be change over time. You start one place and you end in a different place. And this story structure just kind of does that. You know, you set up a character, you endear them to the audience so that they care about them, and then you have the drama that they have all the obstacles they overcome in the middle of the story. And then what happens to them at the end is, that's the important part too, because if you really empathize with somebody, you want to know what's going to happen to them by the end of the story. And I think that's the power of storytelling right there, is we can tell stories about different kinds of people and characters that you might not normally get to meet, and you can see their story illustrated up there on the screen. And that aid to empathy is, I think, one of the strengths of storytelling overall. So that's all I had. This, again, I apologize for the choppiness of these clips. This will be online at some point in the near future. So, but if you'd like to see the full version, you can send me an email. My email is justin@swctc.org. You can come up to me and talk to me afterwards too, and I'd be happy to show you the whole piece. So that's all I had. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hello, fellow video people. Okay, I'm Shay Johnson, and I have over 20 years experience working with animals and 3 working with government, and there are lots of similarities. So considering San Diego is the 8th largest city in the nation, our video department's pretty small with 6 people, and 2 of us are shooter, producer, editors that actually go into the field. I'm taking my presentation a little different, and I'm going to focus on how to shoot video. I have 4 tips, and we'll show examples. I know a lot of you have been working in video for many years. You know these, but hopefully they'll be reminders. And by the way, I had these written down before Monday's storytelling presentation, so I swear. So the first is move your body when shooting video. We know that many video topics in government do not scream excitement. Don't let this make you lazy or unmotivated. As for our audience, unfortunately, these days we're dealing with short attention span theater. So the more we can do to keep the viewer's interest, the better. So move your body. The more variety of shots you can get, the more interesting your video will be. The first one I'd like to show is a video package about our fire rescue department's honor guard. So the subject is training for funeral services. This was a one-camera shoot, and you'll see I moved my body to get different angles, close and far, low and high, to try to make a very somber topic interesting while highlighting one firefighter.
Racing to the scene of a fire or a medical call. There's no time to waste. The crew at Fire Station 17 in City Heights has to move fast. They receive dozens of emergency calls every day. Firefighter Tim Hill says it's the job he always wanted.
And then I always told everybody, like, I'm going to be a firefighter, or like I said, professional sports. And you don't see me with a baseball bat or a football in my hand, so. Everything is awesome about it. It's a good variety. You're never bored of it.
Do you have any problems with kidneys or stomach?
And it feels good to help people out.
But when he's not responding to an emergency, this Air Force veteran serves in a more somber role.
Forward, march. 1, 2, 3.
Helping lead the department's honor guard.
Keep going. Try to stay in step next to each other.
Here, the movements are slow
Hand stays over there.
and steeped
Keep it tight.
in tradition.
Prepare to fold. Fold.
Like a line of duty death, there's when it's usually in a church, there's a casket up front with a flag draped across it. And it's just letting everybody know how much the person was respected.
These volunteers attend a week-long academy to learn techniques for flag presentation, carrying a casket, and the history behind every movement. They train together once per month to keep their skills sharp.
And then step back up. You don't have to walk all the way down there again.
Following in the footsteps of generations of honor guards, Lifeguard Sergeant Gavin McBride says the rituals are taken seriously.
You know, you're not only honoring the person that the event is for, but you're honoring your country, you're honoring your department, so there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that.
San Diego's honor guard is made up of firefighters and lifeguards working together on the job.
It's a family, brothers and sisters, all lined up together, willing to give whatever we have for the person sitting next to you and in front of you.
And serving side by side to show fellow service members that their memory will live on.
Okay. Thank you. So moving your body is the first part, and being patient. That's the next tip. Be patient. Be patient. Yes. Okay. So wait long enough to recognize and capture that special moment, whether it's a smile, a tear, the flag blowing, a bird chirping and then flies away. Just be patient. So hustle, be patient, wait for that moment. Hustle again, be patient again, wait for that moment. Sometimes it's just good timing or luck. Sometimes you'll miss it, but keep this in mind. It'll pay off, and make that emotional connection with your viewer. The next video is about the city's Therapeutic Recreation Services program. Specifically, it's a day camp for kids with special needs, and here are a few clips from that package, the Kids Zone Camp.
On the surface, it looks like any typical summer camp. Kids splashing and diving into the pool, enjoying the water, staying cool under the hot summer sun, outside and indoors. These kids are participating in sports, games, arts, and crafts. There's even a little music and dance. But what these kids are learning goes much deeper. That's because this 5-day adventure camp is designed specifically for San Diego kids with disabilities, ages 6 through 12. Recreation specialist Jenny Cavalier started as a volunteer for Therapeutic Recreation Services when she was in high school and is passionate about the impact of her job. Siblings and friends are welcome at the camp too, cultivating a lesson in community inclusion and fostering new relationships.
Okay, sometimes moving your body isn't just enough. Maybe you aren't able to get close enough to your subject, or you don't have enough time to change angles, or you just simply can't get a certain angle. In this situation, multiple cameras are a great option. If you don't have the resources or the resources and time, you can obviously add more camera people. That's usually not an option at the City of San Diego. But you do have other options such as GoPros. You all know what GoPros are. But these are handy as you saw them in the underwater shots with the kids. You can clamp them. We use the clamp a lot in this little tripod. They're very handy, very easy to use. Another option is video glasses. This is a simple little option. There are a variety of brands that range from $50 up. These are $200, and these are Pivot Head is the brand name, and I think they're pretty cool. Our mayor and lifeguard, they like wearing them because they look cool. I mean, look how cool they look. Thanks for playing. And so, and you can get them different models and without the clear lenses, whatever works, so they're still able to do their job while wearing them. Obviously, this is point of view right here in the middle. It's less cumbersome than GoPro up here. Big things, big bulky items, super cool. You trigger it on the side. A question? Stay tuned. And so, yeah, they're super cool. And my coworker Jason and I, we work in the field a lot. One-man bands, we have a backpack on. You got these, you got a GoPro. And many times I'll just keep these on my head, ready to go if I know I'm going to be using them during a shoot. So, I'm going to show some samples of a variety of cameras. The first is a Bobcat release. I guess I could take these off. Have it. And there were 3 cameras used, plus my camera plus 2 GoPros. You'll see how fast this cat is, and I knew that was going to be the case. So stuck some GoPros in there, and GoPro location placement is so important. Then you'll see a pier jump video for the junior lifeguard program to help nervous little kids see the pier jump before they did it. And we used the help of a lifeguard with a GoPro. And you'll also see my favorite little surfer dude. And then beach wheelchair, my coworker Jason used several cameras on that little video, and he's very good, my coworker's very good about pulling out different cameras and trying them. Finally, you'll see 2 clips using the video glasses. One will be, I put him on a fireman, and then the other one, I put him on a street repair worker doing a slurry seal treatment. And yeah.
So what we did is we unfastened the top of the carrier to make it more open for her so that she would be willing to come out.
We're really excited that she got to come back home because we're figuring we are within her range that she was roaming when she was accidentally hit. So yeah, I think there is kind of a misconception sometimes that like a bobcat is like this wild, ferocious, dangerous to humans animal, but really they are going to do their best to avoid us at all costs, and we'll just be lucky to catch a glimpse of them while we're out, recreating in their home.
Well, it's my first time jumping. It was fun, and it wasn't as scary as you would think it would be. Once you get up there, you just have to do it, but it's really fun.
Shift above your head. 1, 2, 3, step.
It was just super quick. It's like 1 second and then you hit the water. Just happy I did it.
For anyone with any kind of accessibility or mobility impairment that want to access the beaches of San Diego.
And I can come straight to the lifeguard station and ask if they have any beach wheelchairs available, which they normally do, and then I can transfer into my own chair, into the wheelchair, and be able to access as far down as the water.
One thing to know is that this program is free for anyone who wants to come down here and use our program.
They have electric wheelchairs, which are good because you don't have to push them, but if you need to push them, they also have the manual ones available.
Here we have two of our new users that are coming down to the city of San Diego, one from LA, one just moved to the city.
Then you'll see some
During the
video
refresher course,
glasses.
crews practice a different technique for getting water to a fire.
Through the wildland, we do what we call a progressive hose lay. We're going out long distances. So the way we carry the hose out to a location and connect as we go is just a little bit different than what we do in typical structural firefighting.
Crews are also constantly working to prevent potholes. They use a maintenance treatment called Slurry Seal to keep city streets from deteriorating.
Oftentimes we get the question
These
why
are the
we're
glasses.
working on a street that's already in good condition. If we were there and we slurry sealed the street 5 to 7 years ago, why are we back working on that street again? We want to maintain that street so that it doesn't need more substantial
out of that
repairs
video.
and doesn't get potholes.
So,
Okay, for sake of time, I'm moving forward. The last point I have to stress when shooting is a communication, and I'm talking about communicating before the shoot. I know that's crazy, but that's what will the video be used for? Where will it be played? Will there be a voiceover, music, graphics? If communication happens before a shoot, it helps you get the shots you need, avoid wasting time, and avoid lots of crying in the edit bay. And you know who you are. The final video demonstrates good communication. The Central Library wanted a video about their first human library event. I worked with another producer on this, and she let me know, she communicated that it would primarily be used for social media. They wanted music and graphics with no voiceover. It needed to be standalone if the viewers turned the sound off, like we have to deal with a lot these days. Also, I was not allowed to get close to the people participating in the program. So one camera was used. I worked my way around the room framing shots to allow for graphics and waited for those special moments, and this is the result.
Don't normally just go up to strangers and start talking to them, so this was a really good opportunity to talk to people I knew were receptive and who might be outside of my normal social circle, people I wanted to know more about that I might not meet in everyday life.
I hope they leave here really feeling educated, really feeling like they've gotten a different perspective on someone else's life that they would otherwise not have.
Okay. So in summary, you communicate before you even start, move your body, be patient, and use other creative camera options when you can, and your final product will be more interesting and much more powerful. So, thank you.
All right, we're going to do some question and answer. This is going to be a little bit different. We're web streaming this, so I'm going to run around with the microphone. So how this is going to work is put your hand up. I'm going to give somebody to answer to ask a question, but keep your hands up because after they ask that question, I'm going to bring the microphone to the next person so we can keep it flowing. Okay? Here we go. We got Michael. I'll run.
Thank you. Great panel. Question for Abraham. The budget video you did, you had the host and then she had the call to action to go to the website to learn more. Did the analytics show that people went to the website
They did.
more?
They did. They got a lot of good engagement. Like I said, the mayor opened his presentation to council saying that he was so impressed with the engagement that they had this year. And he was so impressed with the engagement they had this year, and he thought in great part it was because of that video. So people went to that website, and a lot of them went through the specific Facebook post.
So was it just the engagement watching video. It was actually going.
Right. That's what he meant. Engagement in the actual budget process. And they had a budget simulator, and then they just had a website where people could get feedback, and those got visited a lot more. So.
Quick question for Shay. The glasses,
Yes.
do you operate that through an app? Is that like a GoPro? Or do you just record, how does it record?
You record, you push the button on the side, it records internally, and then you plug it into your computer and download it. And
Okay, so there's no app where you can see on your phone what it's seeing?
no. It's
Okay.
it's a wide angle. You just practice, and there's no. By the way, there's no stabilization in it, but it does record audio. So.
Okay, great, thank you.
1080p. That's why I didn't say that.
Do you guys do a lot of color grading in post? Like, do you film with unique color settings or profiles? For anybody.
I know we all use some type of color grading. We color correct. Usually when we do our more news package pieces, we just, make sure that the white balance is right, and that if there are any problem areas, we'll fix them. But usually we try to get it right on the field. But whenever we're doing something a little bit more, filmy or anything like that, we'll definitely, I know I personally use some filters and color grade.
I do as well. We edit in Final Cut 10, and so there's a lot of different features that you can do in there, a lot of different plugins you can download and get some nice color grading there. So.
Yeah, I adjust regularly because I use different cameras, and I'm always in there tweaking color. You could be in there forever tweaking color.
Are the glasses waterproof?
No, they're not. There may be some out there that are, but the ones we have, no. I'd say they're pretty resistant, though.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question while I walk over to the next spot there. You guys seem to get a lot of emotion out of people. Do you have any secrets to getting emotion, to getting people to open up, to tell their stories? I've saw that in kind of everybody's pieces, how they get to know that person. Is there a little tip that you could offer to some of the people here today?
I'm sure most know this. If I'm interviewing somebody and we're trying to do that, what I try to do is lead them with tell me about this and let them open up rather than asking them a specific question. How often do you do that? I would say, tell me why you do that and why is that important? And just kind of those leading type questions typically get a little bit better response.
This question is for Billy. I really enjoyed the motion graphics in your videos. I was wondering if they're all made from scratch or if you use templates or anything like that.
Both. The pedestrian on the square was from scratch. Brian Plink of our staff did that in After Effects. And I knew, again, I said it earlier, I wrote the script ahead of time, and then they went out and shot it. And I thought there'd be a lot of B-roll of activity on the square, and the guy might wave a little bit or something. And for them to have the hand come out and the guy, and then I don't know if you noticed, but the shadowing, his feet on the pavement, frame by frame as the car went through and he was behind the car. Every piece of that was by hand. Yeah, Brian Plink did that.
I have a question for Abraham. I noticed that in these 60-second shorts that you do you often have a review process that's cumbersome? Because we try that and sometimes it's weeks and then it becomes something we can't use for social media because there's a review process that's ridiculous. Or are you able to autonomously just publish these as you shoot them?
This is something that we barely started doing this past couple of months, and I don't know. I think we work very closely with our departments, and so there's always a lot of communication. We talk to them almost daily, and we have built some trust there. So we're able to do a story like that. We usually have them take a look at it if there's a chance, and they're usually easy about it. But with these types of stories, we've been able to get them out pretty quick, so we haven't yet.
This is also for Abraham. Following up on the question about the little 60-second, you said that those were additional edits. We talked about that a little bit in our shop, but I'm wondering, what did you do about the extra workflow and extra time trying to do an additional edit from a 2.5-minute piece to a 60-second piece?
So these are done first. We don't try to cut something that we've already produced down to 60 seconds. We tackle it in the way that we'll cut that quick, and we'll make sure that it's a story that lends itself to it, and that we can, we know we can spend not a lot of time in and just get a nice little package out. And then I think the one that I actually aired in my news show was just slightly longer. If a piece works at 1 minute, you don't have to have a 2-minute video of it, Sometimes you want to get more in depth into a subject, but sometimes you don't. In the case of the retired horse, we didn't. I think in the other video, the trash pickup, I think they might spend a little bit more time in that. But yeah, we try to have it have very little impact on our actual work. So we try to sequence stuff that we'll be able to use in other videos. I don't know if that answered your question.
Excuse me, I was wondering how you do with releases and stuff, especially also with the slow TV, filming kids and stuff like that. How do you guys do that?
If you are in a public place, it's fair game. So we try to make sure we're not shooting anybody in their private. There's rules against that. So everything you see from us is a public place. So we don't really necessarily have to have a release. Usually, if somebody comes up to us and says, "Hey, we don't want to be on," we respect that, but there's really no release necessary.
Hey, Justin, this is for me. How do you go about selecting something? That's obviously a very emotional piece, but how does the city select some of these individuals? I mean, is it just that you know about them, or does the department director say, well, we do have the story that of one of our staffers that we'd like to tell? I mean, how do you go about selecting some of these poignant things?
Well, that's a very good question. So for me, pardon me, it's kind of a collaboration. So sometimes the city will, pardon me, sometimes the city will bring people to me that they think would be great, because they love highlighting city staff, and particularly in public safety, just because it helps kind of humanize them to the community beyond just kind of their role. And so sometimes they'll come to me, but in the case of Pat, I had done a story about him once before as a police officer, and he had told me that he was going to be deploying, and I just thought, oh, that's kind of might be an interesting story too, so I just kind of filed it away. And then just kind of last year, I just kind of came back, I was like, oh, maybe I'll ask him about that, but I didn't know what his story was. I just knew that he had deployed, so I sat with him and we talked for several hours, and I knew as soon as he started to tear up talking about his first deployment, I was like, oh, I think that's the story I should focus on about him. So it was kind of just me having worked with him before and him sharing that with me that inspired that story.
All right, let's thank all of our panelists here today. Thank you very much. I don't know the PowerPoint or the video, which one we would enjoy most, but you guys did a great job. That was the best PowerPoint presentation I've ever seen. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for doing all that extra work to show us those videos. Thank you.